Nice to have you here. Finally, the time has come. The own polishing pads from CHEMICALWORKZ are now available, and this is a very, very big step for the brand and the team. You have been following this a bit in the last few days, and I was able to give you some insights through various Facebook and Instagram videos, and now you can get an impression here. In this video today, we will first get a brief overview because there are also many, let's say, newcomers and beginners out there who simply have the question of which pad is best suited for what and which pad you actually need for the different areas of application. Therefore, in today's video, we will not be polishing yet. I will first give you an overview for those who have been involved in polishing for a while, who already know, okay, where to use foam, where microfiber and wool fiber are suitable, and what a glass pad is used for, as it is already indicated in the name. But I also want to give you a brief overview in this video. The idea for our own polishing pads has been with the team for a very long time, and they have also been busy in recent years finding the best partners for the best price-performance ratio. And in the end, one thing applies: you want maximum performance. That means the most modern foam, the most modern materials available, we also find here. That means they are the latest available foams on the market, and there are various properties that are very, very important. Not only the fit on the Velcro plate, but also the shape of the pad. We'll also say something about that shortly. But it is also important that the pads are very heat resistant. This means that when you work with them, the pad does not become as soft as a cotton ball after 2 minutes, so that no force can be transmitted anymore and the Velcro plate presses through the pad. We know this from various pads on the market, that they really break down after a short time, let's just call it that. And now let's quickly go through this. Clearly, here is a really nice 3-part system. And for me personally, I have developed to the point where I say that polishing actually consists of effectively just 2 steps. We have defect correction, which means polishing scratches depending on their depth. Of course, there are exceptions again when you really have to grind, or when you might have to go in the direction of wool and microfiber pads. But in principle, we want to achieve 2 things: removing scratches and maximizing shine. That means heavy cut or cut and finish. Nevertheless, there are several types of pads here, but it is very, very clear, and I just want to show you how I would use this effectively. The finishing pad or fine finishing pad, kept in black, is now available to start with in 125 and 75 meter. More sizes will follow soon, and that should also be the case this year. I'm definitely looking forward to that, because then we can also use the small pads, 50, 80 and 30 millimeter, for the small machines that are also available on the market. But we will start with this to keep it a bit clearer. So here is the finish in black. Here, just as an example, you can see that the grey foam is significantly further out from the backing plate. So you can see it quite well, and there is a reason for that. We'll show you shortly, after we have looked at the other pads in the foam area, why this is simply the preferred shape. The edges are also very nicely rounded, not a sharp trapezoidal shape. You can probably imagine the disadvantage of a sharp trapezoidal shape if you have ever worked with such pads. These small edges that form here, these very pointed edges, are always the first to somehow dissolve, fray, or become a bit holy. And this is simply avoided by having it completely rounded. And with that, you really have, because the foam is very wide and does not taper to a point, always the maximum or almost always the full foam thickness to transfer the force. And that is simply one reason why these pads were designed this way. Here, the Velcro plate is also slightly recessed to give you a safety zone on the outside. And here you can see that the Velcro plate sinks a bit into the pad when you use it. I hope it can be recognized, and this simply forms a small protective barrier around the pad so that you can't hit any edges. And this somewhat encloses the Velcro plate. It's just a very small point. But these are the nuances that come from the experience of the various people who have contributed, like Johann here, from Bauwitsch Aufbereitung. And these are just people who bring their know-how here and know what really matters. Then moving on to blue, medium, and just like that in terms of processing, I will leave it packed now, completely kept in blue. And it rhymes a bit. The guys also said, if you have seen the video from Waschguru itself, that it was really difficult to make the color selection, but CHEMICALWORKZ has touched on this theme of grey, also a bit of turquoise blue and such. And I believe that was also the final decision, simply to go in that direction. It's just a matter of getting used to it. And I will still unpack the cut pad, because it impressed me so much. It really has a very high hardness. So I believe you can also hear it here in the microphone. In contrast to the finish pad. And we don't even need to do the test here. The cut pad obviously completely outmatches the finish pad in hardness. Logically, it has to. So the cut pad will have really strong abrasive performance for a foam pad. Everything is also cut completely the same here. In the first polishing video, I will give you all the information. You can already remember the key phrase, first gray, then blue, and that's how you can actually proceed. And we have this two-step system, scratches with gray, ness with blue. Moving on to the overview, there is also a one-step pad, which is in terms of hardness, between the poor finish pad and the medium pad blue. With that, you already have a really good cutting performance, but it still gets very far into the finish. It's practically the baby of the two. That's a good way to describe it. This is more of a special thing for people out there who really say, no, I want to save time, I want to do everything in one go with one pad and one polish. We'll see more of that in the polishing video itself. Informatively, we continue with the special pads. Here, there are different gradations. You can see the microfiber pad here. It somewhat resembles a wash mitt, which is nice to see. It has a very, very high removal performance, but in terms of thickness, for me personally, it is between the grey foam pad and the wool cutting pad, which we will look at right after this. And the preferences for polishing pads are very, very different out there. There are also some who say, I always do the cut level with my microfiber pad in this case, and then finish it simply with my finish or with my medium pad. You have to test it out to see what works best for you. But in terms of thickness, I would clearly place this pad between the grey foam cut pad and the wool pad, which we are going to look at now. This pad is actually not new. It has been around for a while, and after it became available again, it was completely sold out within 2 days. You can see it here again. In terms of shape, it is also different from the foam pads. Clearly, it has an extremely strong removal performance. I have already made videos about it. In terms of cut level, it is really a completely different number. Regarding all the foam topics, it always depends on what you want to achieve on the vehicle. How deep are the damages? And here it really is in the range of the complete maximum. It has so much power. So here you really need to, and that's why I tell you, you really need to have a bit of experience if you want to work with something like this. First, get along well with the foam and manage everything without problems. Then you can orient yourself further in this direction. In the end, it is your responsibility what you work with, but I will also provide you with various videos and instructions on how you can gradually approach it. Because if you pay attention to what I show you in the videos, you will also achieve very good results without causing any paint damage. It is assumed that there is still enough clear coat left. It is your responsibility that there are not just 60 or 70 microns left on the paint. Everything is also in 75 millimeters, just like the microfiber pad. Then we have a special polishing pad for glass. We will also take a look at this. In one of the upcoming videos, we will go over the glass pane again. Also, a completely different type. This, yes, a kind of, I would say, felt pad. Very, very flat, of course, for maximum power transfer, because now we are polishing on glass. This is a completely different world than paint. And you have already seen some of the videos. We'll also make a really nice instructional video on how you can work very, very well with them. And these pads are for everyone. There is no separation here, no pseudo-separation. Now we are really speaking plainly. There is no pseudo-separation between our hobby detailers and professionals. If you can polish, whether you call yourself a professional or a hobby polishing enthusiast. If you can do it, you can do it. And that's why there is the same foam, the same pads, the same top quality for everyone. And thus, there is no pseudo-separation to deceive anyone saying, yes, you are the pros here, and yes, you only get the hobby line. Oh, such nonsense. So CHEMICALWORKZ definitely does not do that. Maximum performance for an absolute top price. Now we come to the price. I'll show you this a bit up front, in case it still fits in. And I want to make it very clear here. The prices are absolutely strong. Because I have to say one thing very clearly. The prices for polishing pads have simply been too high in recent years. But that was the case with everyone, or is still the case with many manufacturers, or a lot of money is also added on top. And here the pads could have cost $12 or $13 or $15, and then they would have done some pseudo promotions with, oh, $9.99, now a super special offer. The team has clearly decided here, especially Oscar, why should we artificially increase the price of the pads, and why shouldn't we pass that on to the people? He told me exactly that on the phone, and that's why the price is simply extremely fair. Feel free to compare the prices. As I said, the latest foam absolutely top-notch in terms of processing, and I am also glad that I am simply free to say what I want. And I can tell you one thing, these pads with the quality, with the foam at this price, are currently unmatched for me. And this is especially important for professional detailing because costs also need to be considered there. If you calculate it out, even in the hobby sector, if you get 10 foam pads here in heavy cut as a refill and they cost $12 or let's say $10 for the detailers, then you're already at $100, and here you're somewhere around $6, $5, $6, $7, depending on discounts. That's simply effectively 50%, and the money that is left over can be reinvested in other things. And in the end, the question always arises, why do I have to spend twice as much money if I don't get double the performance? And that is actually the guiding principle one can follow here. Decide for yourselves. Feel free to try it out. There is a wide selection. In the next few days, the first videos will also come with the various application areas. We will first start here with the normal foam pads, as that is the starting point, and there will definitely be a lot of content on that in the coming days. If you have questions about these things, leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, I believe there will also be sets in the future that include, for example, 5 heavy cut pads or 5 medium or 5 finish, so you also have a price advantage there. And it will be the same here. I think there will also be larger quantities available for commercial detailers, so in larger boxes, like big refill boxes. It will definitely be very, very good. And now look forward to the first application video. Thank you. Feel free to reach out with any questions, and we'll see you in the next video. Your Sebastian. Bye, guys.